you doing?
Yeah, it's great that we've communicated a little bit over the years, right? But this is the first time we've had the real-time conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, when do you think? Because you used to be until you went away and went to the US distributors. What year do you think it was you bought a wheel from me originally?
Well, so first of all, I gotta say you're my EUC hero.
Oh,
you're the guy that back in the day, I started in a few months. It'll be my five-year anniversary, and so you remember back this would be 2016. You were one of the few guys doing anything on YouTube, right? So I'd see you doing your videos before I even knew how to ride anything. And when I got my wheel, it's like, man, this guy's like a god. And I'm telling you, he rides so well. He can do backwards. He can do all this stuff, and you're so funny. You're so entertaining.
I'm funny. So that's a good one. Funny looking. That's what I get told anyway.
So I, as you know, I bought a couple wheels here first, ACMs. That was the first wheels, but there were really no distributors like we have now. So I bought my first M Super from you.
Yeah, it was M Super V3, wasn't it? I think. Yeah.
It was the 800.
Yeah, 820, 67.2 volt. Yeah, I remember it now. Yeah.
67 volt.
Yeah.
One, I think. Right.
Yeah.
And then I bought the ACM, the first one that came out, the 84 volt white shell. I bought that from you.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about the white shell. Yeah.
And I bought my Monster from you.
You did. Which you've just sold, is that right? A month or so ago, I saw something. You sold something, haven't you? It was one wheel you sold. Said goodbye to it. Yeah.
I bought the original Monster from you, right?
Yeah.
Way back when.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, I don't know why that magic time, the exchange rate, something was going really good, and your prices were incredible. And
yeah. So we had a really bad time of exchange rates. Yeah. So for us, it was really bad buying, but from you guys, it was really good because it was strong against our pound. Yeah. So you got good deals, basically, is how it went.
Yeah. It all disappeared.
Yes. So how many, the question now is, I think everyone's wondering, is how many wheels have you owned?
Have I owned, kind of lost track. The last time I counted them up, it was over 20. Probably 25, closer to 25 that I've owned.
25. What's that as an average per year? 25, 16. Oh my goodness. It's not worth working out, is it?
Yeah, it's been an addiction, as you know.
Right? And you've got most of those wheels still, or have you shifted a lot of those on?
Oh yeah, no, I'm rotating because right now I think I have. I'm not sure. I think I have about 10. I'm trying to pare down.
That's bad. When you can't remember what you've got or where it is in the house. It's like, it's here somewhere, I just don't know where. So what's your background then? That's what I want to know. Because you've got a wood shop behind you with a bandsaw. So I recognise a bandsaw, some clamps, a couple of bandsaws. Yeah. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, this is just my hobby. This is my workshop. It's my converted 3-car garage. So my other passion is woodworking. Okay. So I have a lot of equipment, and I retired from work about a year and a half ago.
Doing what?
I was an aerospace engineer.
Okay.
I retired from Boeing.
So that's quite well qualified, isn't it?
Maybe, yeah.
So it probably gives you a bit of a leg up on working on wheels, presumably.
Yeah, well, they're a little bit different. But I worked in the satellite industry, so
okay.
As you might imagine, the quality of our wheels is slightly less than what we send up in space.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah, it's a little bit different. What's your experience been? Because I think you've probably got a similar experience to me in terms of failures on your wheels. Have you had? So if you took all your wheels that you've owned, how many of those have failed catastrophically? As in, not like punctures and things, but where boards are blown and whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
excluding Overheat Hill.
Not including that. Right?
Yeah, not including that. That's.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. Okay, these wheels are so incredibly reliable. I have I've never had a failure on a wheel that I've been riding. Never.
No.
I've ridden. I've kind of lost track of how many miles I've ridden, but
it's a lot.
We're over 20,000 miles, right?
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
So I've never had a wheel fail when I'm riding. The only wheel issue I had that caused me to crash was when the first M Super 84 volt came out from E-Wheels that was selling.
Yeah.
I had a bug in the firmware that when you hit a big bump or something, it could oscillate, push it off. That was the only thing. And other than that, nothing.
Yeah.
I've never had I can't think of any wheel failure that's caused me to crash.
No,
I've had a couple board failures that, like, a Kingston failed on me, but just because I turned it on one day and it wouldn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really, I mean, one thing that I've been quite glad of is when we started doing the 4 reviews, so doing up to 1,000 kilometers, so doing first unboxing and range test, then doing 250, 650 and 1,000. It's only 1,000 kilometers, but it's as much as I can possibly do, because obviously there's so many wheels you have to go through. But with all of those, there's been no failures across all of them. And when you go onto the forums, you would think that any specific model is absolutely terrible, they catch fire all the time, they're hopeless, and you think, that just is not, since opening the doors to this place, that's never been the experience. The only time we ever had it was with the Ninebot ones when they did a firmware upgrade overnight on a Friday. And we got in on Monday and we had loads of voicemails, loads of calls coming in because people are powering up their Ninebot ones and they were getting on and it was blowing the board. And it was a firmware glitch, essentially, which they fixed, but it was blowing boards. But aside from that, for all the years, it's been, well, I've never had it, so yeah. Never ever had it.
I don't know if there's a big, people are really dumping on Galway right now. They're fire hazards.
Yeah.
I just, yes, there's been a few fires, but they're so exceedingly rare when you consider the
volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, the volumes are huge and the occurrences are small. But I think that's the problem with forums, isn't it? Is everyone gathers in and then you see all the problems in one place and it's just sort of elevated higher than it is. I mean, my argument's always been we just wouldn't sell models of wheels if they were terrible. You know, someone gets a wheel that we've never had a fire. So in all the wheels we've ever sold across all of the models, never had one that's caught fire. So it makes me think it can't actually be a major problem. There must be something else at play other than this. And so much you don't see. I mean, it must be issues with these things that are happening, but it's not widespread. I think that's the issue. So we have customers with this latest thing, customers writing in saying, are these wheels actually safe? Can they catch fire? Of which the only answer you can say is, well, yeah, they can catch fire. It's possible. And they're like, oh, I better not buy one then. And it's like, oh, man, it only does a disservice. Because to explain to them that actually, yes, they can, but it's so unlikely, don't worry about it. Follow best practice and you'll be okay. But they just go, no, and that's it. They're out. They don't join the community, nothing.
It even makes me, I mean, I'm human, right? So I see all these comments about fires and I'm looking, the other day I was counting up, I can't remember, it was over 20,000 watt hours of battery capacity sitting in my garage right now.
Yes.
And
in your wooden workshop.
Yeah.
Great combo.
I'm starting to think, maybe I need to move all my wheels outside, but rationality takes over eventually, and I think, no, I just, as long as I don't abuse my wheels, and if you crash your wheel, you better open it up and
have a quick look.
Check things, make sure everything's healthy, the batteries there haven't been damaged.
Yeah. Simple as that, and it's simple maintenance. I see to your left, you've got a very big wheel sat there.
Yeah. Do you happen to know what this is?
It's your new favourite wheel, isn't it? Go on, then. Tell us what you like about it. I think we should be clear from the upfront, actually. Well, I'll be completely open about this as well. Is that once you said that you liked it, and I drilled you on some of those reasons why, and you've got a different board to me, haven't you? You've got like 1.5. Let's call it Gen 2 board. I wrote to Gotway and said, tell you what, before we shift this, would you like us to send us the board that's in the newest models? And they said, no problem. And they wrote to me 2 days later saying, actually, we've got a Gen 3 board coming out that you can have. So they're going to send us another generation beyond the one that you've got. So basically, we're on a Gen 1 board. You're on a Gen 2. And tell us then, so what you like about it, but what is it only the voltage drop? Because you're getting more capacity than I am, wasn't I? Because I think mine went at 76, was it? Or 77 volts or something. You can run to 74, can you? 73?
So 74.5 volts.
Okay. Okay.
I think yours ran to 78.5.
It might have been, yeah. Can't remember. It's in the video. I mean, yeah.
So, and of course, I've always disagreed with you in terms of you've always on all your range tests forever. It's like you seem to get half the mileage I get. But I understand you ride them hard and worse conditions, and that's your philosophy in terms of like your range tests, right? And because
you can't. I mean, the whole reason for that is we do it so that's the worst you can ever get. Unless the only other difference you get is someone was much heavier than me. They're always going to get better range. They're always going to be pleasantly surprised. They take out the box and go, oh, Ian did a review, only does 40 miles. They get on it and they go, well, it does 80. And you're like, yeah, brilliant then. So you can't complain because we did the worst you could get. That's our idea behind it, yeah.
Yeah, so I point people to you to see, okay, if you want to see the worst this thing you get, go see Ian, see what he's doing.
He's terrible.
If you want to see maybe a more realistic range for something that's not riding super fast, just middle of the road. Like I'd say, like on the Monster, when I did my range test, I purposely limited myself to 22 miles per hour.
Yeah.
On average, on the straightaways, right? And stuff.
What temp was that, do you think? 20 degrees-ish?
What's that?
20 degrees C, the temperature? Or lower?
See, I don't get you guys. You guys talk... You guys talk miles, but you also talk kilometers, and then you talk Celsius. Well, make up your mind.
All you need to remember is that we're right, because this is where the language came from. So that just trumps everything. You left United Kingdom and you went over there and you started a little life over there. You just got to go by our rules. So whatever we're doing, even if it seems crazy, just know we're right. As simple as that. Anyway, carry on. Sorry. Yeah.
So the temperature when I did mine, it was low 70s in Fahrenheit.
Hold on.
What is
70 Fahrenheit in Celsius? 21. Yeah, so 21. Yeah. So when I did my test, I can't remember what it was. It was around about 0, so freezing. It was around about freezing.
Now that's a little. Like a lot of the community knows that Ian hates the Monster Pro. Okay, so I'm here to defend. Well, you ragged on it pretty well, but it seemed like an unfair comparison. You get the. And I'm sure you've seen these comments, maybe that
I don't read them. There's this guy called Marty who's been slating me all over Facebook, and I've just been ignoring him. I joke. Carry on.
You did the Sherman test in the summer, and then you do the Monster test in the winter, and then you say the Monster. I forget exactly whether you said it was worse than the Sherman or about the same.
Yeah, so it came out pretty much. Yeah, it was slightly up, wasn't it? It was 6 miles or something more, I think, that I got in my Sherman test. I think that's where it ended up, yeah.
But if you had done it, obviously, I think you would agree, if you'd done it during your summer, you probably would have done better.
Yeah, I mean, what dictates that is not like an intentional direction to think, well, actually, let's take this. And well, I love Gotway. So I would do everything I possibly could. Well, I love unicycles in general. So electric unicycles, I think they're amazing. And so I think it's the only review I've ever done where I've slated something. But I'm quite glad I did in some ways, because they brought another board out which gives you extra range. Just changing the board is going to give me an extra, whatever it is. I don't know what it is yet, but I probably 25%-ish, something like that, more. So I'm interested to see with this Gen 3. I'm going to keep it. Where is it? There. Yeah, I'm going to keep it. And then when I'm going to fit that board, I'm going to do a full-on range test again, exactly the same as video 1, but called take 2. So it's going to be Monster Pro take 2. And so it's not ditched, it's still there, because no one wants to buy it, because some idiot ran it down. And so now no one wants to buy it off me.
Yeah, everyone's surprised that no one bought it.
Exactly. So when I do that, I'm quite serious, because, and I'm trying to report honestly, because I know I'm not going to be able to sell it. I mean, that literally is sat there, so over a couple of grand for me, just sat there, not doing anything, can't get rid of it, no one wants it. So I'm interested to see now, if I put another board in it, what difference that really makes. And it's still fairly cold, so.
So I love the Sherman, and I think that's, if I could only keep one of the two wheels, I would keep the Sherman, because it's still a really long range wheel, but it's more of a generalist wheel, right? You can, it's much more agile than the Monster. So I've always said the Monster is more of a niche wheel. That, it's so big, but what I love about this wheel, first of all, it goes longer than the Sherman. The Gen 2 board.
Wow. Yeah, Gen 2. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
So it's a lot. I'd say, I'm telling people it's about 10% longer range than the Sherman.
Yeah.
Okay? But it's a huge wheel, and so, as you know, it's just so massive. It's so planted, and it's better balanced than the original Monster, in my opinion, because of more batteries. I think batteries are better distributed.
Yeah.
And so just not as a, you don't want to take this to the store. Right?
No. You did, though. I watched that video. You did take it to the store.
Yeah, but if you want to just, for me, go on a cruise in the mountains, just go on a 60, 80 mile ride in the mountains, or even a shorter mile. It's just so stable and comfortable cruising wheel, in my opinion.
Yeah. You're quite, where you are is quite, apart from that, you have got a mountainous area, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think one of my, I had a thought one morning, it woke me up, in fact, which is a bit unusual. I had a thought that there's a category I hadn't really considered before, which is, this actually bothers me, you see, this distinction between the Sherman and the Monster Pro. Now, the only reason I put them side by side is because they're both big battery wheels, they're both big heavy wheels. That's pretty much it. I was thinking, if someone's choosing, so a customer base would typically pitch them together, even though there's an argument to make, technically, you can't compare the two side by side. What we find, a customer facing, they say, well, here's the two most expensive and the most heavy wheels you can get. Why? Tell me why each one. And I had a thought, is that every time I do my tests, for people watching those, they see a guy going out and testing the wheel, but actually I'm doing stuff whilst testing the wheel. So I'm usually going somewhere. So I'm actually trying to fulfill a task. I'm not just out to test the wheel, which makes it almost on par with commuting. There's another category, which is leisure riding, essentially, where you're not trying to get anywhere and you've got all the time in the day. And you're not trying to burn somewhere A to B as quick as possible because you just want to get there. You're actually going out to enjoy the ride. Now, with that new category, I thought the Monster Pro actually would sit a lot better in that category. If I was to say, like with John, if I was going to go out for that, like 1,000 miler again, what would I take? I'd probably take the Monster Pro. So we just know we're going to be on the road for X amount of hours. We're not trying to do a quick errand to take something over here or go and see someone here, go to a meeting here. None of that business. We're just on a road, we're on a ride, we're enjoying ourselves. The Monster Pro, I suddenly thought, fits into that category. So I know if I go for my usual route, like 8 miles, and I go from A to B, I just want to get there real quick because I'm trying to get somewhere for 7 p.m. That's the scenario here. I wouldn't take the Monster Pro because all those little gates I have to go through, up and over all these things. I'm like, nah, it's a nightmare. I just don't like this thing. And I think part of the driving force for that, my dislike of the Monster, was its lack of agility. I know it's big, I'm not stupid, but its lack of agility versus the Sherman for the price and weight. I'm like, well, actually, the Sherman can accomplish this better. Unless it's in a leisure class where you're not trying to rush getting somewhere quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's why I told you I would keep the Sherman if I had to pick between the two wheels, because the Sherman I can do everything with it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to want to take this on trail riding, really. I mean,
it's possible, isn't it? But it's just harder work.
Yeah.
It's a reality.
No, but for me, I want to. This is a kind of a loner wheel, but I'm almost positive I'm going to buy one, and it's going to be for going on mountain adventures and long distance rides. That's what I'm going to use this for. And yeah, you should. It's never totally clear on how you actually test your wheels.
No. So that aspect of it, we've never actually said that it's entwined with actually doing things. It looks as though, from a video-facing point of view, it looks as though you're just out to do a video of testing the wheel, which, of course, we haven't actually got time to do that. So I'm always doing something. So all these different shots, you'll see my clothes change very often. I try and put the same things on so it looks like a combined video. But actually, there's things happening in my life, and I'm fitting the wheel reviews in the middle of it all. So I'm always trying to go somewhere.
Well, here's a suggestion for you.
Don't do that.
There's this crazy guy that I thought he was Australian. He called me I was out riding in the mountains, and I had a hard time understanding him.
Yeah.
But I found out his name is John.
Yeah.
And I think you know him.
I know vaguely of him. Yeah. Sadly.
Why don't you give the Monster Pro to him? Because he looks like he likes to go on long cruising adventures.
Well, I'll give it to him. Yeah. Well, I'll fit the Gen 2 board. I think because we're planning to do something else together, just as a day thing. So it might be worthwhile getting. He's got a Sherman as well, and so it might be worth just taking the Monster out. Definitely fitting the board. Definitely a take 2 on it to see what difference it makes. Because then I have a suspicion that will open up a lot more miles. Hopefully it will. And it's a different game, isn't it? It's a different game totally. If you can say, well, actually, you can do 120 miles or 100 miles like you got, in comparison to like 70, that's mega. It's like, yeah, that would be a unique selling point. You could say it's miles away from the Sherman. It's like 30 miles more range kind of thing. If you get that sort of scope out of it, definitely worthwhile. But there's another point in there, an elephant in the room. You've got side pads on yours, which I didn't get.
Yeah, I don't know. This, as you know, I wouldn't want to ride this outside.
No.
And I know your philosophy, hey, if it's meant to be used with power pads, then they should have included them in the box. But I look at it as you can buy a lot of products. That Skydio drone, you buy that. It doesn't come with all the accessories. So you buy some of the few extra accessories to make it perform its best.
Yeah, I would argue though. See, where I come from, that I'm real resolute on that because I've almost, as I said to you on the chat, I've had 2 instances which I've never had in all the years where I've almost fallen off backwards off the Monster. So if you're pinning it, so if you're going quite quick and it's tight areas and you want to brake and turn, I've actually been on my heels, which is an experience I've never ever had on any wheel. And you wouldn't get that with side pads. And I'm thinking, it's actually quite dangerous without side pads. You do need, it's a requirement. For instance, if this Skydio came and it didn't come with that, and they said, there you go, I'll be like, yeah, but you do need that. You definitely need it. And so, yeah, I think it's the same. I think it does actually need those pads that you've got there to come with it as a safety.
Well, I agree with you. Just like why doesn't Gateway include a
mudguard? Yes, exactly. That's a pet peeve.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It should come with these pads, but it doesn't. But I think this wheel is so massive, and it's like controlling a large container ship. If you need to brake, you need to think ahead of time, and because it's
you need it, don't you?
Yeah. But with the power pad, have you ridden it? Did you ride it at all with power pad?
No, it's as it is still there. So it's bog standard. So what I want to do is now test it with the other board and just see how that responds. And if it's the same, then I'll stick power pads on.
I don't think it's going to be any different without.
Don't you reckon?
I don't think they've changed. Yeah.
So,
I don't know what they did with the V3, this newer version.
Well, they said to me, stop movement of the board, which sounds a bit suspicious. Let me have a quick look. I'm like, what do you mean movement? And I haven't got an answer on that one, I don't think. Let me have a look.
Well, so on the V1 board that was like in this Monster first before we put the newer board in this one, it had, besides the higher voltage, it also had an oscillation issue where kind of a back and forth oscillation that would happen, and was really amplified. The faster you went and sat on it, you would feel it even more.
Okay.
And with the new board, that went away. So now it's rock solid. It feels really good.
So I didn't get what you're describing there. I didn't get that on my test. So I didn't get any oscillation things. The thing, it seems to change per unit, doesn't it? But yeah, it said my colleague told me the Monster Pro board is going to change again. So that's from the one that after the one that you got, because I asked for that one. So it says I better give you that later after it's finally finished. I'll send you a new control board. When ride fast, it will not move, was the response I got.
I have a feeling. That's the oscillation.
Possibly.
Issue.
But this is the third generation one, so it's not the same because I did ask for it. So I said, "Can I have that?" He said, "Yeah, send that one." Because I said, "Perhaps then it will perform well, and we can have a fresh, updated review." And it says, "I'll send it as soon as it can." And then a day later, they came back and said, "Actually, there's another board after that one." But I don't know what's changed. But I'm going to have that one and put it in, and then see how it goes. But
well, it's good. It's good that you expanded your mind a little bit and you're willing to reconsider this.
I actually genuinely, deep down, want it to be brilliant. Genuinely do. When I was really, that's the part of the disappointment as well. Part of that you might not get in the review is actually I had massive anticipation for this wheel. I thought this is amazing. So we did the 1,000 miles on the 24 inches, which aren't there anymore. They come off of the thing. But we did it on those, and I love it. That monster. People say, "Oh, Gotway are terrible," and I always think that 1,000 miler, the only wheel that would even come close to doing that at the time was the monster. It's like there wasn't another wheel on the market that could have come close to it and done what it did with 2,400 watt hours. And it's like, I thank Gotway for being able to do that charity ride because they worked flawlessly apart from my blew a board going up a hill. But it was to be, again, people look at that and go, "Oh, it's terrible. It just, blew the board." And you think, no. We've been traveling 8 or 9 hours a day for 12 days or whatever it was with 20 kilograms on our back, going up some of the steepest roads in the United Kingdom. You're going to blow a board. So it's going to happen. And then John's did the whole journey. They still work. So I came in thinking this is going to be a refreshed version of that, but do a lot more miles. This is going to be sweet as anything. And then, of course, coming off the back of it happened as soon as I took it outside almost. Shot off and then tried to brake after re-riding the Monster Gen 3, and I came on my heels. And I was like, whoa, what's that all about? Not experienced that before. Coming off backwards, it's like, that's weird. I've stuttered coming off forwards, but never backwards. So I'm hoping the new board will maybe not in that area, but if I put I won't put the power pads on straight away. I'll put a new board in so it's a fair test. Say this is what you get now if you're buying it now, and then split the test and say let's put some cheat pads on because that's what they're called, cheat pads, and then see how that responds. And then we might come out and say, hang on. Well, and don't forget they now sent me a mudguard, so I didn't even have a mudguard either because they didn't put one in the box and they didn't have them at the time. So they sent me one of those in the mail later. So, yeah.
Can't wait.
And that's it's those little build-up of things. So no pads and no mudguard. Those two things on top of everything else is like, wow, this is not finished quite yet. If they had the pads in there and the mudguard, brilliant.
And you can't see the back, but I have
thank you, Mary.
I have a KS. Yeah.
There you go. Mary just passed to me. Thank you, Mary.
I have a KS16X mudguard on mine.
Ah, yes, I've seen the photos of that. I mean, if I had that, which has never been fitted yet, it's crystal clean. It would have saved a lot of problems. I mean, like the wheels started filling with mud because of I just don't know how they've run through testing and not thought, should we throw this $1 part in? We've been shouting about it for goodness knows how many years, and they haven't changed. So
no, they never will.
They're going to stay the same. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and minimise the screen and see if anyone's got any questions for you. You on live chat as well, Marty, on YouTube? You can't see both at the same time, can you? Or can you? Let me have a look. Are you able to see live chat, Marty, on YouTube?
I can't if you're asking.
No, that's okay. Let me have a look, see if anyone's got any questions for you. Bear with me. Has anyone got any questions for Marty whilst he's live on air? And I will try and do the impossible. Live comments, for Marty. Yeah.
So you like my the thumbnail I picked for this, huh?
Yeah, it's a good choice. I noticed that.
I did a Google search where I needed to grab an image of your live show, and that's the one that kept popping up in Google searches. So I thought, okay, that's it.
Yeah, you seized on that, which is good. I noticed that. Straight away, got that image. It's like brilliant. It's cracking up slightly, the audio, but hopefully you're still there. It's broken up slightly. Still got the live. What are you seeing, Mario, on the feed? Is it all right?
Quality is good.
Quality's good. Internet's good. Facebook Messenger isn't. Is it reconnecting? Let me. Yeah, it's crashed out on it. Okay. Oh wow, everything's crashed out. Okay, we got lots and lots of questions. Wow. Okay. Well, Marty's gone now. He's gone. What's the time? We're 9:10. So that was a bit of a massive fight. Hey, 9:10? I mean, 9 minutes past 5. 9:10. Oh my goodness. Doing stuff live, you get these risks, don't you? This is the thing. So we force quit the apps. Yeah, stop using Zoom. Tried that. Tried to quit Zoom. But there we go. So the chat has been mental. With Mario controlling that, he's got no oversight of the questions that have been asked, the comments that have been said. I haven't seen any of them because we've been chatting with Marty, trying to get a good, rich conversation out of that, really based around the Monster Pro. That was the idea of getting Marty on. Marty is on the other side of the pond, but on the other side of the opinion of the Monster Pro, and that is really good. It's really, really healthy to have two separate people who have got experience in riding wheels. You heard, if you caught the start of the interview, Marty's been riding a long time. He's one of our early customers. It was brilliant to have him buying from us from the US, so we send stuff over. But this story's not finished yet, as you heard. There's another generation board coming out. We're going to fit that one. We're assuming it's a Gen 3, could be a Gen 2. It's hard to tell with communications with China. But I'm considering it a Gen 3 board. It's going to go in there, going to test it, bog standard, and then part 2 of the second Take 2 review of the Monster Pro will include cheek pads going on and a mud guard. So, yeah, it's going to happen. So that will be redone. So the conversation around that, and we can always have Marty back on, can't we, another time as well. And we'll try and work out how on earth we can, we can get him back on again and get everything working, especially Zoom. Zoom would probably be a bit more stable. But it went well, didn't it? Not Monster, the Messenger. Yeah. You could hear the audio. I mean, I could hear it. I mean, it's not great because you could hear the reverb back from mine, but yeah. So I'm hoping that was what you guys wanted to see. If not, do you want to just message below? Let us know if you think it's a good idea getting a guest on. We're trying to do it every week. Depends who can come on and whether we can actually fit it all in. As I say, we'll be retesting the Monster Pro. I'm going on to the RS High Torque next and the EX, so I'll start both those videos rolling for you. As you probably heard, we're trying to fit it into doing other daily activities as well around the businesses. So I tend to be going somewhere or doing something. Occasionally I go out and just ride it, but usually it's trying to fit it in at the end of an evening. So if I try and grab a wheel and think, I need to get this in, I haven't had time today, I try and find good weather, because you can't fly a drone unless it's good weather, to get the shots and use camera equipment. I try and get it, and then of course you've got family commitments as well, so it's trying to quickly go, right, I'm just popping out just for 20 minutes to get a quick ride in, so you're trying to shoot around, get it done, and bolt it all together and say, this is the range. So we will do that with those 2 videos. If you know someone that should be on this live show for a conversation, then obviously let us know, but importantly, they need to contact us so we know that they actually want to be on, have got a vested interest to be on. And we can decide whether we have them on or not. That would be great. I want to say thank you very much to Marty for joining in with this chat. Really important to have a chat. Guy's been riding for years, got loads and loads of wheels, gets a real rounded opinion of all these wheels. So I thank you very much, Marty, for joining in the fun for the community and stuff like that. It's just the questions have been inundated with comments and questions. I haven't seen them all. But the video is going to go up live after this is finished, so it'll be on our channel. Feel free to comment back again with any comments you put down. Not intentionally ignoring you. We're just trying to make sure that the primary driver for this show this week was having Marty on. Just want to make sure that interview was done, and so I just had to go, look, it's too much. I'll shut the comments off. I just hid them behind and just spoke to Marty. Couldn't cope with it all, so thought that was best tactic to take rather than ignore Marty and talk to you guys, seeing as who's on. So thanks, Marty, for probably waking up early, unless you're an early riser anyway. and joining in. Thanks to those guys from the US who joined in with Marty as part of his following, who got up early as well to watch the show and communicate. And thank you everyone else for commenting. Brilliant. And sorry that I missed your comments. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And we will see you on next week's vlog on Monday. Once, as long as Mario does it properly and edits it all up, that'll be good. Yeah, he says, yeah, you will. And yeah, thank you very much. So we will do it again. Marty says, hopefully we can do this again with a better connection. Definitely, we need to use Zoom. We will have Marty back on as long as he's willing to come on. We'll have Marty back on. Probably the best time to do that was once I've redone the test. And we'll talk about other things. So Marty, probably still watching. Think of some ideas that you can bring to the table as well. Maybe some topics you want to talk about, other topics other than the Monster Pro. We will talk about that next time as well if you come back on after done with the review. And yes, we will see you Monday, and I'll see you live Wednesday, and the 1,000 kilometer review of the RS High Speed will be up as well. So look out for that on our channel. Click the bell notification for all notifications. Go to electricpeople.org and carry on the conversation in the comments below. And we will see you next week. Thank you very much. Goodbye.